You've named your advocacy groups,
Yeah.
and which is kind of seems to me to be both awareness raising groups
And
and also actual like policy influencing, and then also your empowerment, your economic empowerment strategies, livelihood, to be the main ways that you are addressing these power inequity issues and trying to change the power dynamics, both between men and women, between different ethnic groups within the community,
ethnic groups, non-ethnic groups,
ethnic groups and non-ethnic groups, right, and the Janjatis and then the rest of society, yeah? To what extent do you think, now the difficult part of actually trying to give yourself a rating, because I think that Indu has brought up some very good points about what we mean by empowerment. I mean, it's a very deep and it's very big to try to address. To what extent do you think that these two activities and the way that you're approaching them is actually getting at really and truly promoting empowerment of the most marginalized people, particularly women, and then also the most marginalized Janjatis that you are working with?
It's the time to rate.
Well, not being harsh or anything, this is so tough.
Yeah.
Something between 2 and 3 maybe. And I'm more on the lower end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this?
No, my thought is already clear. 3, I would say.
Yeah.
I also said 3. Please don't blame me.
She
But
said 2 or 3, and she's maybe on the lower end.
No.
So she's maybe 2.
2.
Yeah.
See, maybe 2. Yeah, 2.5.
You can give half. How about 2.2?
I mean, if you, what they are doing, yeah, it's satisfactory, but not enough.
I think here we are not questioning the
No.
project team's effort. We are also the member of the team. So we are trying to interact on how we can improve the things and what we are doing, reflecting on our work, and to improve the things. So we are not questioning here anyone's effort. We are also
What
saying
strategy
both
we have?
that. It's a responsibility of all of us.
Application of this strategy.
What do you
Yeah,
guys
I
think?
think initiate the
I think to
properly.
me it's 3.
Very
To
strong
me.
strategy. Advocacy center.
You think 3?
I think, yeah.
All right, so you can see that the Pequot can sometimes generate difficult conversations. The interactions of staff from different parts of the organization helps generate rich discussion. But at the end of the day, what we really want to know is whether or not this process is useful for staff for their ongoing work. So we asked some of the Care Nepal staff about what they thought about the Pequot.
But whatever we have discussed today, it's very important, and I think through this we can make ourselves, we can look back, what we have done, what are our, gaps.
No, the part of reflection, because we seldom do self-reflection or project reflection, and this really facilitated that even today. And so if it's a continuous process, then I think this will really bring out a lot of learnings and ways forward.
Great.
I think it also created a linkage between project and program aspect. Because most of the time when we are implementing project, we'll be so concentrated in our project only, and we don't really think about the strategy or vision or mission of the particular organization, how it's really contributing in that part of in the section. So I think it was a good brainstorming session as well.
I mean, I think what Amlashwar said is really critical about the use of this for now moving forward, for improvements as well. So like you're about to go with your midterm review, how can actually some of the changes that you're making going forward, respond to some of the areas that came out of this discussion. Yeah. So, yeah.
One more thing I would like to add is this tool, in a very non-threatening way, allows us to raise critical questions also. Critically look at the performance of the project without feeling that it's going to be evaluated. This rating something is going to happen because as a result of these ratings.
Right.
So this environment that this tool creates is good for us.
Thanks for the input, Care Nepal. I also received a few emails from other country office staff sharing their thoughts about the usefulness of the Pequot. Listen to this from Claudia Sanchez in Care Peru. The Pequot promotes a systematic process of reflection and learning during project design, implementation, and evaluation around the quality of our program strategies. Aggregated data on CARE's impact in Peru has been key for our use in advocacy and institutional positioning. Without this data, we cannot make a case for scale-up and policy change. And moreover, the Pequot allows us to define with ever greater detail what we mean by program quality. Thanks, Claudia. Now let's hear this one from Fadimata Mahamani in CARE Mali. Ubora was very useful for the CARE Mali team because in our long-term strategic plan, we are seeking to develop quality programs. The Pequot tool helps us assess the programs in order to measure how they are progressing to actual quality. It helped projects develop better synergy and collaboration and improve their strategies. It was also very useful for our country office because we are working strongly with local partners, and when we applied it with them, it helped us build their capacity. It helps make the project team responsible in ensuring they are more accountable to communities. It makes them pay more attention to it. Thanks, Fadimata. Now we've heard about some of the ways that staff have found applying the Pequot to be useful. But once the discussion is over, how will the results be used? Well, it can be useful for each individual project or program to identify areas of strength and areas for improvement, and it can be useful for the overall country office to use as information for planning. For example, let's take a look at the two graphs showing the results from one of our learning labs. First of all, here's the graph showing the results from each of the 4 programs that applied the Pequot. Country office staff can start identifying ways to improve each of these programs and ways to share best practices from programs that are stronger and further along with those that are new or have more areas for improvement. Now here's the graph showing the compiled results for the overall country office. We can see that the key areas of strength are identifying and defining the impact group and population and promoting empowerment, and that a key area for improvement is accountability. Learning labs have used these results to analyze them and ask why there are strengths in certain areas and weaknesses in others, and have used their findings in strategic and annual planning processes to decide what to focus on for the coming year. Besides being useful to the country office internally, analysis will be used to inform broader global conversations. It can help facilitate knowledge sharing across the organization and help inform decision-making about country office, regional, divisional, and global level priorities and resource allocation decisions. Senior leadership have emphasized that Ubora is helping provide insight on the priorities, challenges, and achievements in country offices. Using the Pequot can help surface areas where the organization needs to focus its attention in order to improve its programming. I think it's about time for me to wrap up this session. I hope you leave with a better understanding of how Ubora can be helpful in improving our programming. Remember to see the Ubora user guide to read more details. Especially, take a look at the introduction chapter and the country office chapter. Many thanks for your time and attention, and a special thanks to CARE Nepal for their openness in using their session for all of us to learn from. Ciao!